Welcome to another edition of the Husker Fans of Montana podcast. I'm Ricky J. here with BB.
Hey, Rick.
And Karl.
Hello, gentlemen.
Unfortunately, tonight we do not have Jeff in Omaha. He's been working hard and doing much more important things than we are. But how are you, gentlemen?
Doing good.
Doing well. I kind of like the cool weather. A little rain, a little coolness. I like it.
Yeah.
Feels like fall almost.
I
right?
know. I'm liking it. I'm tired of the heat.
Yeah.
Well,
Can I give Jeff a shout out though? We should. I know he's not with us tonight. Normally we talk about him when he can't hear us, but
We talk about him behind his back all the time.
you know,
Give him a shout out.
One of Omaha's finest, and definitely a great guy. And sorry he's not here with us tonight, but the people of Omaha ought to be glad to have him looking out for him.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
hope he's safe, and all the guys out in Omaha and Nebraska, all the guys that wear a badge. I'm real proud of a lot of them, and it's not an easy time to be doing that. So,
No.
Well, that's true. Well said, BB.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to get us started with the Husker schedule. We came off a win, 34-3, and so that's nice. But folks can see we're 3-0. UTEP 40-7, Colorado 28-10, and Northern Iowa 34-3. And we will face Illinois on September 20th.
21st.
I think that's incorrect because it's Friday.
It is Friday.
Well,
So what day is Friday? Let's double check
20th.
that.
It's the 20th.
Yeah. So I will fix that slide.
It's going to be 6 o'clock Mountain Time, I believe.
It is.
Yes. And yes, on the 20th.
It is correct on this one. So a little Husker news. Nebraska defeated the University of Northern Iowa 34-3. The Huskers move up to number 22 in the top 25 this week. The Huskers suffered no injuries. However, right guard Micah Mazuka is out, and Henry Latovsky is now listed to start. And that's been called a coach's decision. And
working through some issues, I think I've heard him refer to it. Not quite sure what that is, but hopefully he gets through those.
I sure hope so too, because he's a hell of a lineman.
Oh, hey, no injuries. We should have the
no injuries.
Right.
sorry
A little cheers.
interrupt,
Cheers.
Karl.
Yes.
I think that's a significant event in light of last season.
And an excuse to drink.
Yeah, that is true. Yes, again, no injuries. That's awesome. So Coach Brett Bielema brings Illinois to Lincoln, ranked number 24, with their sights set on making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just a little admin note. Sunday, the EA Sports simulation of the game, Nebraska versus Illinois, went live on youtube.com/@theexpedition. Now, the result of that game, the folks should watch it, but Nebraska won 23-20 in OT. So it's a pretty exciting game.
I think that's going to be pretty accurate.
It may be. Already on the channel is a position-by-position comparison of Nebraska's players versus each of the 2024 opponents by EA Sports analysis. Nebraska plays Illinois on Friday, September 20.
There's no noise in Illinois.
I know. Or is there noise? If we lose, I'm gonna be dragging out the noise. Nebraska plays Illinois on Friday, September 20 at 6 p.m. Mountain Time on Fox. So Karl's Whiskey Corner features Penelope Bourbon whiskey. So Karl, why don't you tell us a little bit about this whiskey?
And this was brought to us by Brian.
Yes, it was.
Give credit where credit is due.
Well, it was recommended by our good friends over there at Empty Glass.
At Empty Glass, okay. Yep. And
Penelope.
they generally they have good opinions. I mean,
Sure.
they have good taste. Penelope is not bad. It's a good mid to low range bourbon. I mean, it has some nice fruity notes. It has some good cinnamon. It has a little bit of kick because I think it's a young bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
Probably needs a little more aging in the barrels as it has a little bit of a charred taste. Doesn't really pick up the oak, but it still has a nice finish to it. It's still nice on the palate. I think probably for a low to mid range bourbon, it's a good one. So I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I'm good with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I did some reading on it, and just some of the experts are saying it might be a nice bourbon blend to begin with. It's for the new drinker, someone who's just
Right.
it's new.
I mean,
to
it's
the
a step
whole
up from
bourbon
Old
world.
Crow.
Man, it's easy. But anyway, no, I'm glad it.
Such high praise, Karl.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I'm compared to Old Crow.
he has a way with words,
Does
doesn't
he?
he?
know, yeah.
It sure does.
Makes a fella feel
I've
good.
tasted worse stuff.
Occasionally, the butte comes out in Karl.
Exactly.
Well, hey, I'm going to throw on some highlights here of the game, just about not quite 5 minutes of it, and so we will be able to kind of discuss the game and give us our thoughts of the game, why it's playing.
Two tight ends in the game as well.
Okay. I'm just going to start out by giving Northern Iowa a lot of credit, especially their guys up front. For a lower division team, they really held up pretty well. This is a good football team.
And I'll go give Nebraska some that they didn't have a letdown. They didn't overlook these guys. I mean, they maintained their focus.
Yeah. Well, Northern Iowa was able to extend their drives and really shorten the game.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska had, 4 possessions in the first half?
Yeah, I'd
So
say
they really did a great job with that.
we did not do a great job on third down. They converted an awful lot on third and mid or third and long. Here's their only score.
And he caps off this 10-plus minute drive.
Yeah.
One of the benefits is the defense is not happy with themselves for letting them score on that first drive and have a strong drive against them and then have it lead to points. So anything that can motivate them for this coming week is great.
I don't know about if you guys saw the same thing. I think Raiola took a step in growth. I felt like he was reading things better. He was looked like he was a little bit more
Comfortable in the
pocket.
One play that really impressed me, I don't know if we'll have it here, is when he has a defender coming at him pretty much untouched on the edge.
Yep.
And he really does a nice job in sidestepping him and making a play downfield.
A little bit of composure for, I mean, as touted as he is, he's still a freshman.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, that was his third college game.
Yeah.
Sack, a batted ball, so many little moments. This whole team has taken that to heart, led by their 6th-year senior, Ty Robinson.
This is the play right
Bingo,
there.
right there. Yeah.
And then he makes that play.
Yeah, it was a
just
really
beautiful.
good play. Did you guys see where Ty Robinson last week came out the field after a good play and knocked that coach,
I sure
sent him flying?
Yeah, sure
so
did.
then this game they settled for a handshake.
Yeah, that was class.
I like that play. That was a nice play there. Well executed. They had the blocking.
Good patience
Yeah,
on the runner.
Good patience. Yeah, to read it inside.
Like he took a significant hit, like 2 yards into the end zone. When is that going to become not legal? Because the play's over when he crosses the line with possession.
Yeah,
it's different when they're throwing a pass and they're trying to receive it in the end zone. But
Here's Dowdell. Gets outside.
Nice run. Nice run here.
yeah, he ran hard.
Inside the 15.
Wish he had a little bit of an extra burst. But
Brian Buschini the hold. And Ovano from third.
I was happy to see a couple field goals, even though they weren't really long, but a couple field goals in the second half.
oh yeah,
they-
confidence builder.
Yep.
They were executed well.
And they also went back to
Hole.
hold.
Hole. H-O-H-L.
That's a big mistake. Wow.
But that had to be, and he did pretty well for his couple kicks.
And he's got it. 27 to
Yeah, to be honest with you,
It's about a 6-minute video.
Buddy can do kickoffs, and obviously he proved that at Montana.
As good as it
I think he's better when he doesn't.
deep shot.
Maybe,
This is the interception. And I agree with you.
That could have gone either way.
Yeah.
That really could have.
This, I think, is as much, and they both said it, as much on the receiver. I mean, Dylan took responsibility, and Harburg's in now, but it's good to see
Nice
that. But
run.
nice run.
I like that.
Nice run.
Way to bust outside.
Yeah.
Dylan took responsibility for the interception, and so did the wide receiver. And I think I would have liked to see the wide receiver high point that.
Offensive line coach on 4th down and 5. Northern Iowa converts.
biggest question is, how are they going to do next week? To me, the sign of a veteran team
Yeah,
is
face
flag
mask
down
there.
on the field. And what I love about Dylan Raiola is that he does a nice job of blocking out a lot of that chatter. And why? Because of the community he has around him.
Number 2's did a nice job closing out the game, not letting them in.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yep.
Family, of course, constantly being around him, being a support group. And if he can continue to play free, if they can run the football, everything this team dreams about is in front.
Nice job coaching. I don't recall the coach's name, but he's
He's been there. He's a
good,
solid coach.
he's a solid coach.
He took a little heat because I didn't hear the press conference, so I'll just go on what this is secondhand. But he, I guess, emphasized talking a lot about penalties that went against them. And it's kind of like, Coach, you only scored 3 points. I mean, you lost by a lot.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult to whine about penalties too much. Now, again, that's just secondhand. Maybe he did not. I'm not sure. But
Yeah, well, did he have touchdowns that were called back because of a holding penalty? I mean, I don't think so.
So we will jump into rules post game. It's a little longer at just over 11 minutes.
Start by saying how much respect I have for that football team, their football team. They competed to the very end. I thought the quarterback, I thought Dunn was a competitor, gritty, tough. They came here to try to win the game. I respect that. I respect the way they played. Two was in the game to the very end. So that was a kind of competitive stamina and fire that we needed to compete against. Really happy with our twos at the end of the game to keep them out of the end zone. It's the 2 out of 3 games we've had a fourth quarter shutout. Really happy with our 2 offense. They went down and scored a touchdown. So with that, I'll see what questions you guys have.
Which is 48 offensive plays from scrimmage. I mean, just the flow of this game, just with how they were moving the ball with a 10-minute drive to start, how much did they kind of maybe throw the rhythm of what you wanted to do all the time?
Well, I think the 48 plays because we went right down and scored. We had 3 possessions and we scored on 3 possessions, right? So it's they did a great job in that they used up 10 minutes on that first drive. I mean, they were literally just sitting in the huddle looking to the sideline. There was a master class by Coach Farley in how to keep these games, the way you want to keep them, right? Move the pocket, ran the quarterback. They cut us a ton. So we have these pass rushers, and all of a sudden now they got a fullback cutting them on their legs. It was really well done by them. But I think offensively, we scored our touchdowns on our first 3 drives, and we got down there and we went for it on 4th and 3 on the 4th drive. So there just weren't a lot of drives. So yes, I'd love the defense to be able to get the ball back for us a little bit sooner. But I also thought the offense was unbelievably efficient. You go down the next, then you come out of the half. We answer, I think, a takeaway the first drive. We answer a takeaway, we go down and score. Now we have to get in the end zone. Then the next drive we score. So, not a lot of punt work tonight for Buschini.
It was a 59-yard pass from Dylan.
That's pretty good.
That's just for you, Brian.
And then kind of looks back.
I didn't get any punts.
Just his skill set on that play and his awareness to look so quickly back and see him Jalen.
Well, that's the same play we ran last week. That the kind of the play that everyone made. Was kind of a highlight reel play that he threw on the run. So that's a play where we roll right, but then we throw a post back left. You have to have an elite athlete like Jalen to do that. And so they blitzed off the edge.
Have at least one punt.
And so it's not. That's not the right play for that defense. So they called the right defense.
He's had some games
I've
with
noticed
way
a lot
too many
in the first
punts.
game. He's done a great job of
Right.
always avoiding the first rusher when people come free. He does a good job of finding space and time and making the throw. But he knew that that's where to go, especially with pressure. He knows he's going to flatten it, and Jalen was right where he's supposed to be.
Did you see that in him through the offseason, that he was going to have that, that ability to have that sense of where the pass rush was coming from and the mobility to avoid a guy in a situation like that?
Yeah, I think when people have asked me what makes him special, I say that he's not a 7-on-7 quarterback. He likes the game part of it. Even the short yardage play, that's what J.J. McCarthy was doing in Michigan last year. Handing out the fullback dive, they come out tight. They pull it every once in a while, and he pulled it. So he just knows when to make the right play.
We're a quarter away through the season. What do you love? What do you hate?
I don't know about that.
That's a
I like
crazy
being
question.
3-0.
Jesus.
There's nothing that I hate.
Yeah. I hate you.
We're just gonna each week, when we start Big Ten play. I kind of refer to this as the preseason. In my mind, we're learning how to win. As I told our team, the narrative of losing close games comes from trying to, when you get a lead, not trying to put the game away. And so the questions I get asked a lot are about, hey, why aren't you guys doing more of this in the second half? Well, that's what led to a lot of the close losses, right? So we want to score, get a lead if we can, play defense, and run the football. And then I want everyone to say, why are you guys so boring in the fourth quarter? And then we win. And that's sincere. So I just make sure my team hears that, because they're kind of like that. That being said, we wanted to be aggressive a while because this was a good night for us to work on our passing game, and that's why we threw that post at the end. It was there. We thought we had it. It sounds like their kid made a play. I thought we came down with it, but we didn't. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think I'll watch the tape to see exactly where we are. I felt like early on we didn't tackle as well as we normally do. And but I did like the energy the defense came out with in the second half. That had all the makings of one of those games where,
tackling.
like, if you're not locked in the second half, they score a touchdown. All of a sudden, it looks like a game you're in control of. You're not. And what we're trying to do is control games. Control games. That's what good teams do. So I felt some of that tonight.
Carter Nelson on 4 catches, 48 yards, gets in the end zone for the first time as a Husker. Just can you speak to his growth to get to this point and having arrived in the summer?
Yeah, I mean, Carter's, like I said, this is his third game playing with 22 people in the field. So I mean, he's growing, and he had a couple little packages for him. 2 of them got called early, which was great. One was the red zone call, which was like an option route, and he won on the option and scored. Through the middle screen to him. So I think the sky's the limit for the things that he can do. They're doing a good job of bringing him along, slowly in my mind. And when I say slowly, in terms of like giving him tasks to master, because he wasn't here in the spring.
Imagine that.
But tonight was a tough night to get the ball spread out to everybody, going
Just
back to the whole 48 plays. You have all the guys trying to get the rock
community,
to.
if you do an 8-man
it's a good thing when
8-man football in
you throw
Nebraska.
a ball to Jalen, he changes, flips the field, and they had a penalty that gave us some yards as well. So.
What was your? How did you feel about getting the package for Heinrich in down there near the goal line, and what did you think of the way that executed? Yeah, we put it in. He was in on the screen to Carter. He was in on a tailback on that too. So, I think there's a lot of things that we want Heinrich to be able to do, and he does. Every time he goes in, we don't want him just to be like
Coach could use a wet towel,
wildcat quarterback, right? I thought I was really pleased with Heinrich when he got in at quarterback. The way he managed that third down, finally checked
needs
down.
a black stage towel.
Yes.
And they were bringing a lot of zero blitz. They checked. He reloaded it on the long touchdown run. But
Husker fans of Montana sponsored.
We'd like to get a little bit more out of the quarterback run part of it. But I'll be honest with you, Mitch. One thing I've learned: every time we put a quarterback run on tape, another team has to practice it. And so they don't have to necessarily work. I just have to chew up 20 minutes of their time each day, worrying about option and worrying about those things, because we can run all the options with Heinrich. We can get under center still and run belly G option, right? We can do all that. And so I need them practicing that, because that's one less time that they're practicing the other stuff that we're doing.
What did Emmett show you this week in practice that got him an earlier chance, and then did he take another step in the game with his big plays?
Yeah, we wanted Emmett to be the third down back this week. We felt like he would do a good job in the protections and getting out and catching the football. We're trying to diversify some of the roles. We didn't have a ton of third downs. We were kind of not necessarily needing the third downs. And then that run at the end was great. One thing about Emmett that's happened, last year and this year is he's kind of like been a closer in some games, right? Whether it was Northwestern last year or Purdue, or I can't remember if the games started to run together for me. But even Maryland to Wisconsin, he had long runs that put us in position to at least try to win those games. And so he's a guy that comes in the fourth quarter, change of pace, makes people miss, and that was a big time run for us.
Micah was out, and I don't think Jamari played. What was their status tonight?
Yeah, Jamari just is still sore from last week, so we got him ready to play. He was warmed up, and we're going to start camp.
Being able
so
to bring in a running back like Emmett,
kind of got out there and just
late in
didn't
the
have the same pop. I just was worried if I played him, he might get hurt.
It's so huge.
We feel good about him using Keona. He just didn't have the burst that we thought he would. He was trending. Practiced a little bit on Tuesday. Practiced a little bit. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. So I thought he'd be able to go. And if he needed to, he probably would have gone. But this was a unique week, and that it was a short week as well. We're on in Big Ten play on Friday, so being able to save him, not need him, was probably important. And then Mike, I'll probably address that later. It's just coach's decision. He's still with us. He just didn't play tonight.
How prepared is this team now for Big Ten play, and how nice has it been to have the 3 home games and just to kind of build your team here in Lincoln versus on the road?
Yeah, I think one of the key things, Sean, is getting a lot of guys in the game. Even at the end, you have Maverick Noonan, you have Ishmael Smith-Flores, you have Amari Sanders, you have all these guys out there playing meaningful minutes. You had your whole second line playing meaningful minutes, and so that to me, that's been really good. That with 2 of the 3 games, we've been able to get the 2s and some of the 3s into the game. You never know. You never know when it comes to conference play. You never know where you are till you get there, right? And
so, no doubt.
Some teams blow out some teams. Some teams, play other teams closer. really, even when you look at stats, I don't. When I look at the Big Ten, I only look at Big Ten versus Big Ten stats. I don't look at even the non-con stats. The Big Ten puts out like their Big Ten only stats because we have to see kind of where we are with each other. So I'm anxious for Friday night. I'm anxious, that they're a good team. I think they'll probably end up being ranked. Hopefully we stay ranked. And I don't know the last time two ranked teams played each other. I think they were 26 last week in the AP poll. I'm a big fan of Coach Bielema. So hopefully they move up and be a cool night this coming Friday night.
It's going to be a good test.
Yes.
Can you talk about just dealing with the short week heading into conference play and just preparation for that?
Yeah, well, last year we were going into this game, we just lost to Michigan, and we put on pads and practiced on Sunday, so maybe a little different tenor this week. But, even there, as I was walking out, Marquise Buford was making it very clear to everybody, we're coming in here tomorrow ready to work. Normally Sunday's our off day. We do a big family dinner with the players' families and our families. We won't be able to do that tomorrow. It'll be a work day for us, and our off day this week will be next Saturday. So we'll work tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The great thing is we're not traveling. Our Friday game is obviously at the end of the season versus Iowa. But we'll work tonight. We'll work tomorrow. Because it was a night game, I had a chance to watch their game today. We worked some today, worked some yesterday to be prepared for Illinois, and we'll see what happens.
Coach Jacory, after so many big plays have gotten called back over the first couple games, and finally finds the end zone. What was that moment like, just getting to see him score?
Yeah, I was fired up for him. I thought that it was a heck of a call by Sat. Calling a reverse on the 12, I wouldn't do that. A little more conservative, but and I thought Borgacher did a great job. Came around and made a big block for him, and great to see Jacory get in. And when he plays with joy. And it was great, great to see the review kind of go our way. That was a big call, when he, they had called him down the field, and then they ruled that he was behind the line. I appreciate the Big Ten for changing that one. So, Jacory's a weapon. He had that deep over that we hit early on. So keep trying to find ways to get him the ball.
The interception by Dylan, obviously challenged it. What did you think of that play? Do you want to make the throw?
That's the right throw. Yeah, that's 100% the right throw. It's quarters, safety triggers. We try to throw the out route to Thomas. He triggers it. You throw the post. That's one-on-one. The thing with Dylan is you're going to play NFL football with him. Like if he's going to throw the ball to a spot and he's expecting his guys to go make a play on the ball, and I thought Jalen made the play on the ball, so I'm not in any way throwing Jalen on the bus. Looks like their kid made a play. But if we don't put those things on tape, then we'll throw the post first quarters. It's going to be a long year. We had that conversation. I think Sam had asked it the other day about, Iowa and all this. You have to hit those posts, and their kid made a nice play. I challenged it because I learned last year. We had 3 or 4 plays that the next day, hey, the replay was wrong, and so what I learned was you can challenge the replay. So as I looked at it up on the screen, it looked like Jalen came down with the ball, so I was at least going to challenge it. I didn't need the timeout. It wasn't a wasted timeout. They told me that, hey, they've already cleared it, but I was told last year you can still challenge it, and you should still challenge it if you think it's wrong, so I challenged it and didn't win.
Hey, good challenge.
Yeah, it didn't cost it.
No, not at all. So we're going to go around the room. I'll start with you, Karl, but I'd like to just, get what you felt was good, your thoughts on the game, and then what you thought was good, and then what you thought maybe a little more concerning and they need to work on as we move into the game against Illinois.
I think, like I said earlier, I think Raiola looked more composed. Three college games, I think that was good. Defense played well. Running backs had some bright spots. My concern is I was concerned last week about them overlooking Northern Iowa. I think they have to be prepared for Illinois because Illinois is a good team, and it's going to be our first real test. Right. So I think it's more mental than anything else. Are they coming into this week prepared to deal with a ranked opponent compared to an FCS opponent?
Right.
Huge pickup. So
maybe.
Yeah, we do these things and we sit down, we analyze, we talk, have conversations, and it does not take away from a great win.
Yeah.
To share opinions. And I think I shared with you earlier this evening on our Twitter page. We had a discussion during the game this last week, and there were several people, and I have not been a huge fan of the play selection, especially the second half. We had some series where I think we just went away from the run inexplicably. Made no sense to me why at times. I hope that doesn't happen again. We're going to learn a lot this week. We're going to learn.
Yes, we are.
Are these second half things is this just because we don't want to show our cards, or we just kind of shutting down the second half, or is this what Satterfield does, which kind of last year I think is what was the case. So this is as we talk and discuss, and it, as fans, as people on a podcast, we have these conversations. Doesn't take anything away from the kids, the win, all of that. So I thought it was a great win. Northern Iowa, I think, is a good team.
It is a good team.
Their guys up front. I would like to see. I think they held our defensive line. I don't know if they were playing inspired or not. I hope they come out inspired against the Fighting Illini, because they're going to need to.
Different level of talent, for sure.
Yeah, and we'll see what the play selection is. Maybe this may have been quite intentional. We're just not only vanilla, but sometimes I just don't know why we go away from what's working. When they're not taking it away from us,
right,
I'd stay with it. But that's just me. So,
do you think there's any part of it that he's trying to experiment with things in a game that they are comfortably winning?
Maybe it could be.
It should be.
Well, yes, at times. Makes me wonder if I still harken back to last year, unfortunately. And there were so often that I felt the same way last year as we're losing close games. That's why my concern this season. I hope you're right. Maybe, and more than likely, maybe you are.
I'm just posing the question.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't have an opinion either way. I'm just wondering.
It could be. I hope it is. If we're having success running in a series or two against Illinois, I sure hope we don't, for no reason whatsoever, go away from that. And I'm not saying you run just every play, but when you're successfully running the ball, that opens up other things, play action, RPO. There's a lot of things you can do that make sense. Some of what I've been observing just doesn't make any sense.
Gotcha.
But if you're first and goal on the 8 in that one particular series, we do some strange, it's like a reverse thing that didn't work. I mean,
yeah, but you can do that against Northern Illinois.
Yeah, you can.
You can't do that against Illinois.
That's my point.
So I guess we'll find out.
And we're going to find out.
I guess the only question that I have, are we going to be getting any hate mail from our Twitter arguments? That
no, absolutely. These were
or our ex.
I got to say, these guys. Agreements? No, there were 5 or 6 of us, and they know who they are. I can tell you,
5 or 6.
The nice part about it is we were all able to have disagreeing. Our politics should be so clean in this country.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
We can disagree without being disagreeable. So it was a nice conversation. They made some good points. I think our side had some good points too, and we go forward.
It's just nice to be able to discuss things when we're winning.
That's absolutely.
That's a pleasant change.
Could agree.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting when we lose.
Wow, change.
Come on. Let's not be realistic. How we respond when there's
3 years
don't
from
bring
now.
me down.
3 years from now, when that preseason.
Don't bring me down.
Oh, got it. ELO.
Yeah, baby.
Jesus. Okay.
Like a snake in the grass.
Like I'm in 8th grade again.
All right. Well, my thoughts on the game, basically overall, just a summary, is that Northern Iowa, I think they played a very good game. They played a very physical game. Their quarterback and their running backs could run. The quarterback is very mobile. He's accurate passer.
Yeah.
I think their line was there to play. I think they successfully shortened the game by extending drives. And I think they did a really good job at that. Now I look at the Nebraska defense. It's hard to complain because they held them to 3 points.
3 points.
So it's really hard to say, well, you didn't do this well enough or you didn't tackle well enough. Were there some tackling issues? I didn't look at if they were second stringers or first stringers in the game at that time. But yeah, there were some things that didn't look up to the standard that they have set.
It was something of a bend but not break defense, I'd say. We gave up a lot on a lot of third downs they converted, but they didn't score.
Well, that first drive that they, that was like a 9-minute drive
So long.
that led to 3 points.
Yeah.
I mean, Nebraska only had the ball 4 times in the first half. So they did a great job. And then I'll say for the what did I have with the they didn't dominate Northern Iowa. So maybe then it will motivate them coming into this game. And I think that's the best we can hope for, right?
And right.
That they feel they didn't play to the standard that they have set. You know, it's like anybody with an addiction or whatever, not to go down Karl's road, but you really can't help them until they want to help themselves. So it's great that they've set the standard. The coaches aren't putting the standard on them. So when they say, Coach, we're not happy with letting them score on the first drive and do a 9-minute drive, that's awesome because they're the only ones that can really fix that.
Sure.
So and then turning to the offense, first 3 drives, 3 touchdowns. I mean, wake me up, that's freaking awesome. And then it was nice in the second half, even though you would have liked to have seen them score. I think it was great for Alvano to get a chance to kick some field goals. They weren't long, but we got to get some confidence in him. And so
agree.
To be able to, get on there and get the field goals,
Snaps
that was
were good.
awesome.
Snaps were good.
And then, holy cow, we never punted the ball.
Suck it up to your own kid. Snaps.
The snaps.
Snaps in the hold.
Well, the hold was good.
Well, the hold was good.
The snapping was good. Snapping was better than it was the week before. That's my point.
Well, and speaking of Brian, we never punted, and we talked earlier. I cannot remember.
Never punted.
I cannot
When was
remember.
the last time that happened?
I cannot remember a game in Nebraska history that we've never punted. Because even in our glory days where we were just dominating people, a lot of times in the first quarter, we'd be running and committed to the run, but we'd be wearing them down. Right. So, it might be a 3 and out, it might be whatever, but then we would have to punt. But just over time, by the second half, we were just, blowing runs out, and so I just don't ever remember a game we didn't punt. So
it is.
It's hard for me to be really upset with anything with the defense. It's hard for me to be upset, and I am not at anything with the offense. It's great to see Raiola as a true freshman, 3rd game college football, more composed.
Yes,
I just never thought he would be that composed in the game, and he is. He's a different cat, man.
I agree, but there's going to be times.
Oh yeah,
and there are going to be growing moments. But he's
of course. Let me make one final point on the punting, if I could. This not only is this the first time in my son's career too that he didn't have a punt. We do currently at this moment have the leading punter in the country by average, but he doesn't have enough punts to be on.
You're funny.
Only
you would come up with that.
No, that's the truth.
I know. I'm not saying it's
his
not,
average is number 1 in the country, but he's 1 punt short of being able to qualify. So I'm sure in the upcoming game we're going to be punting in this game coming up.
That's fantastic. Well, we'll have something else to cheers to next game.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
So. All right. So before we move on to the Illinois game and our analysis of our upcoming game, Karl, I want to give you just a minute and to talk about Montana football.
Oh, well,
if you would like.
Yeah.
Sure. Went to the game, Morehead State. If anything, it was a confidence builder. But my issue with Montana is
Bobby.
Yeah, well, it's around quarterbacks. I mean, apparently, well, not apparently. Bobby does this every year. Like the first 2 or 3 games are weeding out who's going to be the quarterback. This was, as I'm watching it, Ayat was not very good. He got pulled at the minute he only threw an interception.
In fairness to him, true freshman.
Yes. But Bobby's boy.
Bobby's guy brought him in.
Fife came in, but apparently last week in the loss that they had, Fife didn't look very good. This week, Fife did well. I thought he did okay. They even had the Helena kid, Hewitt, came in, played the entire 4th quarter, but it's a lesser opponent. I'm okay with it, but Bobby's got to figure out the quarterback situation. It's a confidence issue. He's got to the quarterback's got to know that he has the trust of the coach.
Right. And this is the dilemma with Bobby. Is that he doesn't develop these kids.
Yeah.
He brings them in at these skilled positions.
Yeah.
Same thing at special teams. He gets credit all the time for being some kind of superstar guru. Nothing could be further from the truth. He has to bring in these kids. They all transfer in. They play a season or two because they're not being developed. You don't see a quarterback at Montana that it comes in as a freshman and is brought along.
Well, Ayot's the closest thing.
We'll see. He's just new. Who knows? He's just.
And so this week they play Western Carolina, opponent they're not used to, but it's a quality program. And it'll be interesting to see how they do because this is, they can't watch the tape type of thing. It'll be interesting to see how they do.
There we go.
Yeah.
The one thing they do have going for them, they got Linehan working with the quarterbacks.
Yeah, they do.
And he knows what he's doing.
Scott Linehan's a good coach.
Yes,
defense is stable. It'll be fun to watch. So anyway, enough about Montana.
Awesome. Well, we're going to move into Illinois. We're going to begin by
What
watching
about Washington State.
Well, no,
we didn't mention Washington State.
Let's.
It's a lack of coaching on Washington's part.
Let's give it to you.
We talked about that.
So
you're kidding me.
For everyone,
I'm sorry.
Brian is a Washington State alum, so
a win against the Huskies
there
in Seattle.
I know Apple Cup. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
Carl,
come
those
on.
are hurtful words.
You know what?
It was a big one.
You have the floor.
Pac-12 doesn't even just.
I'm going to say
anymore.
that it's a big step. Beating Texas Tech last week, beating the Huskies this week. Oregon State having an okay season. I mean, they lost to Oregon, a very good team. However, these two schools deserve some credit for trying to save what's left of the Pac-12.
Oregon State did the same.
And they're going to, it just announced this week, there's 4 teams coming in: San Diego State, Colorado State, Boise State, San Jose State.
No, San Jose.
Boise State.
Boise State, San Diego.
Anyway, we're missing one. But these two programs, especially WSU, now they're undefeated in 3 games. The schedule looks pretty good for them, actually. They actually have a shot at the playoffs coming up. Their success this season will go a long way to whether the Pac-12 in some form, fashion, survives. So,
which is interesting because now that those 4 teams, I want to remember,
but I could.
It's not San Jose. Okay. San Diego State, Colorado State,
Boise State,
and there's one other.
Okay.
Anyway, but now it's brought up this whole thing about Montana State moving up to the Mountain West.
Well,
huge. But anyway, it's good, but it's Mountain West teams.
Today, 10 years from now, it might be better. Okay. My point is, but you're still saving a conference, even if it's one of the,
which they deserve to be saved.
If it's not a power conference today, things come and go. That's my point. So anyway,
well, congratulations.
I wish him well.
Rick just wants to talk about Illinois and Nebraska. That's what matters. Come on.
We're kind of burning our time here.
Sorry.
The helmets are right there.
Yeah. So we're going to start this off with the last, with the OT segment of our EA Sports simulated game, which we didn't have one last week because University of Northern Iowa did not exist in the game. So we're just going to go to our last format. We've had over 70 people watch this game, and it's actually pretty entertaining. It goes into overtime. So here we go with the overtime segment of the game.
Now we head to overtime. 4 quarters not enough to settle this one. We're headed to overtime.
And these teams have played so well, back and forth, evenly contested game.
Have I shared my discontent for Disney-colored teams? So orange and blue doesn't do it for me. I just don't think it's a winning combination.
All right, guys, so here
I'm sure Illinois appreciates that.
Fresh everyone's memory. Alternating possession starting on the opponent's
400 consecutive sellouts coming up.
That's right.
Yeah. That's a key philosophical approach for most teams when it comes to overtime, David.
Yeah, and remember the rule change a couple years ago,
Big Red?
And the second overtime and 2-point conversion. So all this stuff is situational type football that you better have worked on throughout these weeks of the season.
I don't like that.
No.
And the he's brought down after a nice game.
Every offense
Graphics are just crazy with these.
and be physical, especially on first down. And you want to
A little bit different than Tecmo Super Bowl.
just get first downs like that.
Just give it to Bo Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. If you got Bo, you're
Auburn.
gonna win.
you got Auburn. It's all good.
He's got it, and he won't be able to push his way in. He stopped at the 1.
All right, let's see it, black shirts.
Concept there to get
Second and goal.
going and use the tight end early.
Yeah, I mean, just such a great job on first down, setting up an easier second down. Understanding I don't always have to push the ball down the field, but see the tight end, make the throw. No, it's not a big gain, but makes life really easy on me on second down.
Pocket starts to go.
There you go.
And he is.
Well, let's hope we see that.
No doubt.
And when you get closer to this area near the red zone and closer
This
inside
hurt me.
like you are here, it's tough to throw certain routes, right? That you need to throw those slants, you need to throw those fades, get the ball out of the quarterback.
If I remember, I'll show you my replacement for Little Red. If I remember it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there a replacement for Little Red?
Just my suggestion.
Okay.
Didn't he just get arrested in New York?
Well, that hasn't been proven yet. Those are
Allegations.
Yeah, allegations.
Throw it in.
He's
Didn't have
passed.
much of a choice, just had to throw that one away. It'll be 4th down.
Black shirts held him.
And they just couldn't find a hole. Down the red zone, the field shrinks. So much harder to complete those passes. They're 4th and short. Now, decision time, baby.
So they'll send out the field goal team to try to take the lead here in overtime. And the kicker delivers the 3 ball to finish off the drive. And they go back on top. Down by a field goal and a touchdown will win it. Let's see what they've got on first down. From the gun, they'll try the middle.
Bad decision.
They've still got the old field.
Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. Trying play action. Makes the grab on the left. Huge game before he goes out of bounds, and now they've got it 1st and goal.
I don't know if the defense came into this one expecting the fullback to be a weapon catching the ball, but that play didn't look like they were ready for him. He catches it, turns it upfield for the first.
Dropping back, it's Raiola. He caught it. He got it in.
And that's a game, my friend.
There you go.
Walk-off touchdown in OT.
Hope it happens that way.
Yeah, I do too. Well, I hope we win.
know if we-
I'd like it not to be that
The
close.
overtime will be
Yeah, it's going to be close.
So here we have Coach Rule. Just brief. I notice, sometimes they talk a lot but say very little. So we don't have a lot for Coach Rule.
During my time in the Big Ten, the Big Ten meetings at the Fiesta Bowl Summit, where a lot of coaches go down to, he's a leader amongst the Big Ten coaches.
Speaking
he's
of Coach
on the
Bielema.
AFCA committee and some other different things. So he's always very, very involved with all the issues and all the things that are happening. Does a great job at that. Very personable, really just a really, really good guy. We have a Big Ten coaches group chat to discuss issues. I think he heads up a lot of that. So
a group.
I think he's great about those things. I had a chance to meet his wife this year. They're a lovely family. So I have a lot of respect for him. His teams. I think they're going to play great defense. They're going to run the football. They're going to play great special teams. He was obviously, after an illustrious career, as a head coach, was with Coach Belichick. So I know he obviously understands that way of thinking, which is probably a lot like how we think, and doing a great job at Illinois. So I have a lot of respect for him.
And then let's just quick listen to Coach Bielema briefly.
Rule's an idiot, doesn't know what he's doing.
Nice haircut.
very talented Nebraska football team. Have obviously a lot of respect for not only their head coach, but several of their coaches have had a very storied career. A lot of guys have done really good things offensively and defensively. A lot of the same players we saw a year ago. Obviously, the addition of new players on both sides of the ball and in the kicking game. So, tremendous challenge, one that we're excited about to play under the lights on a Friday night. Ironically, had a Friday night game with these guys last year here in our stadium. Now to go over there and have the same. I think just because of what they've accomplished, what we've accomplished, to have two big teams ranked on a Friday night game is a little bit unusual. It doesn't happen all the time, right? To see that play out and to be a part of it is awesome. Give a lot of credit to their team on what they've accomplished to this point. I told our guys to continue to keep our focus, our mentality, and see where it can go. So with that, open up for questions.
Brett, you get to test yourself on a national spotlight game, two ranked teams. I know your focus is one at a time, but just as a competitor, like, what is the excitement? What is the vibes of going to a game like that?
Well, I think, more than anything, it's our first Big Ten game, right? It's a rematch game. There's a lot of different things that factor into it besides just the two Big Ten teams that are ranked. I think once our guys get into Big Ten play, because of our conference right now, because of the exposure of 18 teams from coast to coast, these 9 conference games, mean a lot. I think when you throw in the element of, obviously they're ranked, we're ranked. I think that's a unique thing to these guys, right? Like it's kind of interesting to see the energy that brings. For me, I really don't, care, but for I get from the outside world and from a young man's perspective to have that has been pretty good. But I just keep challenging these guys to keep playing their best football, to play against another really good team. I think that's something that, even going into the Kansas game, I know our guys really were excited to play against good competition, right? Against defensively against a quarterback that had all the value that he was bringing. Same thing on our defense or our offense side of the ball to play against Kansas defense, and then last week, challenged our guys to keep their focus on improving themselves, not so much about who we were playing. And then this week to have front and center attention of Nebraska, who's gained a lot of attention ever since their Colorado game. Obviously, very well deserved, and it's something that brings their attention for sure.
In terms of
well, like you said, Karl, a lot of canned stuff, and you're not getting. I mean, they're going to talk quite a bit about the past game, and that's what I found. But they're not really going to talk much about the game coming up. They're not going to say, "Hey, we think our wide receivers can do this against it." They're just not going to. So what I ended up doing is just kind of taking 2 short clips because they'll be long, but really you're not getting any meat out of there. So what I thought I'd do, this is what do we got here? About just under 3 minutes of the of Illinois playing Kansas. So I thought we'd just take a look at their game and just get an idea of what they're like.
Daniels looking, scramble, throwing, intercepted, and Xavier Scott making his mark early. On second down, Daniels scans, fires, caught, touchdown Jayhawks, Luke Grimm. Flag on the play.
Kansas ranked at this point in the season when they're playing them there.
Yeah, ranked number 19.
On the slant, lost the football, and it's KU ball.
Nice job, not missing, taking out those legs.
4th tackle tonight, late substitution for Illinois. And they'll spread him out here for KU. Empty set, 2nd and goal.
One thing I noticed, just box score wise, which concerns me a little bit, is Illinois has scored a lot of points in the second half and the fourth quarter this season. So they play all 4 quarters of football for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Decent kicker.
3rd and 13.
4-man rush.
Wow.
Boy.
Xavier Scott watched some film there because he premeditated that. No doubt. Look at that.
Escapes the pocket, throws, end zone, touchdown. Kansas has the lead.
Well, they are +8 in turnovers for the season.
Yeah.
So the second effort. Jared Casey gets.
Well, we learned what turnovers will do to you last year for sure.
That.
David Reeves, another Aussie. Reeves, end over end, curling kick is booted.
Boy, look at that.
Oh, ouch.
Look at that.
Is that safety?
We'll wait for the
Be a
signal.
touchdown, wouldn't it? What am I?
No, if they recovered it, I think it's theirs on the 20.
Yeah. I got confused here.
So it didn't hurt them.
Altmaier delivers down the
They got lucky.
They got lucky. Hey, you're right.
Even better than if he would have fielded it where he had it.
Altmaier under center. Handoff. Fagan. Touchdown. Illinois has the lead again. Snap good.
Yeah, so there's, 10 of their points in the fourth quarter here.
Yeah.
Why not now?
So last play.
Bring the blitz. Daniels has some time. Ball knocked out of his hands. And that will do it.
Kansas had their chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at least it gives you an idea. Well, I'll kind of get us started. Illinois, their first game against Eastern Illinois, they shut them out and scored 45 points. Their second game, obviously, we saw a little bit of it against Kansas, 17-23. Like you pointed out, BB played a full game.
Yep.
And was strong in the fourth quarter. And then another game, their last game against Central Michigan, they scored 9. Illinois scored 30. So some of their top players, obviously their quarterback, Luke Atmeyer, his ESPN rating is 81, same as Dillon's in the game. They have a strong running back, Fegan. Wide receiver, probably their best wide receiver is Pat Bryant, who's been doing a good job this season. And then they, in the ESPN game, they have some folks that are rated at 84, and that's a left tackle, Jay Davis, right outside linebacker, S. Coleman, and a cornerback, T. Strain. So they have some pretty strong folks, and we knew that. I mean, they're talented.
Sure.
And again, I mentioned they have the +8 in turnovers. The defense has gotten 9 and they've lost 1, so they're to +8. So they're definitely hungry to get the ball, and they know they've been successful at it. And I can tell you from watching some of their fan sites that, like maybe several teams right now, because they're doing well, like Nebraska's, their fan base is thinking playoffs. They're thinking that they could finish.
Why not?
In the top 4 or more of the Big Ten. If they can do that, then they're in the discussion for a 12-team playoff bid. So they're coming to Lincoln thinking that definitely thinking that they can win, and thinking that this is a huge game for their season. And it's definitely a huge game for Nebraska, in my opinion. Nebraska has got to go out there and they have to win this game. This is, I would say, a big step, but it's not the biggest step they need to take this season, but it's definitely an incremental step that they need to be successful at. And I think we need to see our both sides of our lines play well, and it's going to be the most difficult challenge they've faced. Our running backs have been looking good. They need to keep that up, and I agree with you, BB. I like the rotation where it's at, bringing those fresh legs in, available later. And our wide receivers have had some amazing plays. If there's anything I'm a little worried about, it just seems like maybe it's just losing that one interception, not high pointing the ball and just losing that, getting that taken away. I want to see them become more dominant. They're big, athletic players, and we can see just on that take that we had how aggressive Illinois defense is.
Sure.
And we've Dillon has to maintain his composure, and I think he will. And the wide receivers have to be where they're supposed to be on these routes. Like Coach Rule said, Dillon is playing NFL football. He's throwing to a spot. He expects the wide receiver to be there. So they better be there.
Yep.
And so that's kind of my initial thoughts. And obviously we'll save our predictions and stuff until a little later. But Karl, why don't you give us what you're thinking?
I totally agree with you, Rick. I think it's a lot of mental. I mean, I think we have the physical capabilities to keep up with them, but I want to see the mental piece. I think Illinois is going to be a tough challenge, and we're going to have to be on top of it. So Satterfield.
Yeah.
I want to see what he does. So, the talent wise, I think we're up to it, but we're gonna have to be careful. So
Yeah. Well,
Maybe.
the turnovers will be huge, obviously. So far this year, we've been really, really good. We're going to need to continue that. This is a team takes the ball away. If we're turning the ball over, we're going to lose this game.
Yep.
No,
I agree.
How many do you think if it's just one, if we turn it over once, or what do you think?
Twice.
2 or 3. I'd say
3 times the lady?
2 or 3 times, yeah.
2 or 3.
Yeah, we're in trouble. On the other side of that, if we can take the ball away once or twice, it's really going to boost us. If we can end a few of their drives with a turnover, a couple of their drives throughout the night, that'd be huge for us. So see that our special teams has to step up. Hopefully they will. I think this game is largely going to come down to field position type of thing.
I agree.
There will be some of the longer passes. I hope that we're able to exploit that. But I think this could really come down to your Big Ten football. Season starts, right? And I think field position is going to be a big part of this game.
Well, as we move to predictions, then I will go over last week's. And Karl, you had Nebraska 28, UNI 10. You were off by 13. Jeff had Nebraska 50, UNI 7. He was up by 20. I brought in the rear at Nebraska. I said I overbought on the offense, or really maybe as I think about it even more, maybe I overbought on the defense because the defense just let them have such long drives that we didn't have the ball enough to score enough points. But I had picked Nebraska 55, UNI 10. I was off by a whopping 28. And Brian had Nebraska at 42, UNI at 7. He was 12. So you guys are very close. I even had to redo the math. But Brian got this week. There
it is.
So as we move to predictions, I'll start.
A win's a win.
You know what they call second place?
First loser.
First loser.
They should make medals like that. First
really
loser,
should.
second loser, third loser.
Best loser ever.
Yeah. Maybe that would help get us back to a competitive
Not
society.
first, you're last, baby.
Oh my gosh, what a great movie! But I'll start us off with predictions as we move forward, and I think Nebraska will win this game. I do think that our defense is going to be more dominant. I think they're going to be challenged. It is a measuring stick game for us, for the program. It's a big one.
Totally.
And so we're going to find out some things. We're going to answer. Some questions will be answered. So it's a really big one. But I think our defense will stand the test, and I think that our offense will also be challenged. I think it's the best defense they're going to face, but I think they will. I think we'll see maybe some stuff that we haven't seen all year yet.
I hope
in this game.
Yeah, I hope we do.
And I do think we're going to see some different things and a different maybe combination of stuff. But I have Nebraska 28, Illinois 17 for the final. Karl, what say you?
17-14, Nebraska.
Very close.
Only because we're the home team. This is going to be a test.
Right.
So,
this will definitely be a test.
Yeah. 17-14, I'll go to Nebraska at home.
At home is a touchdown to our advantage, I believe. And the orange uniforms is another touchdown, I think, to our advantage.
Look at the ugliness.
The ugliness of the uniform.
So do you have any other thoughts on your prediction or why you feel that score is going to be there?
I think the defense is going to make a stand. I think there could be tests. To me, it's coaching. I think Rule is really going to be tested here because the players are going to play. It's going to be up to the coaching staff, maybe Satterfield.
You passed, Karl. That's enough. I just want to make sure it wasn't the whiskey talking.
Well, no, it's
a lot of whiskey talking.
I think it was a whiskey talking.
It might be, but I think it's going to be a coaching more than anything. So I'll go Nebraska 17-14.
All right.
Don't disagree. We are going to find out if we get out coached the second half.
Yeah.
And I get it's the little things get passed over, but they kind of jump out to me. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Satterfield. I'd love to be proven wrong on this. I really would. I think it's funny, quite frankly, when the head coach mentions in a press conference that that's not the play he would have called. And it kind of like, are these guys on the same page? Or are they?
That's
anyway.
true.
Well, I think a good leader, when he lets someone else take the wheel, lets them drive. So, yeah, he can come back and correct that. So, of course. Yeah. And so I think you have to expect that they may not do everything that you would want them to do, but that comes with letting them drive. I guess. But I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And nothing would make me happier than to be wrong and to go, wow, okay. If this season proves me that Satterfield's great and he knows what he's doing and I've been wrong, I'd be just fine with that. That's great. I think this game's going to be. I'm going to go 28-13. I think defense will hold them to a couple of field goals and a touchdown.
Who's winning? Who are you picking?
We're good guys win. Okay. But you hit it on the head when you said this is going to tell us a lot. We're either going to be fools sitting around these mics next week, or geniuses.
Oh man, we used to kind of go to tie it into the show our first season. Real gold or fool's gold? Yeah, I forgot that tagline.
Yeah. But this will be a huge test. This will show us who. This is going to show the team a lot about who they are, and I hope and I think that we have it in us to not only prevail but to do well in this game. But we're going to have to fire on all cylinders.
Close game.
Special teams is going to have to play well. Defense is going to have to step up. I'd like to see us in the plus margin on turnovers, and I'd like to see if when we're successful with the power running game, let's be patient with it, not go away from it just because.
Right.
I'd like to see those things happen, and then I think we'll do very well.
Well, Karl, you mentioned the mental preparation, and I wish now that I would have pulled this off of when Rule talked, and you might remember it, Brian, but he talked about being ready in 3 phases of the game, and I don't want to misquote him, so I don't want to try to say the full 3 phases, but one of them was the mental aspect, and he felt that we weren't there for that, you and I, and he felt that he felt that after Colorado, there was a little bit of a letdown in the mental phase. So I do believe that we will be there and he'll have them there in all 3 phases. And I think like the Colorado game where we saw just like, Huntmacher, and Robinson were just on fire. I think we will see them return to that form because mentally, I think they're going to be seeing red.
Yeah.
And I hope so anyway. Yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts any last minute alibis for this game coming up against Illinois?
It's mental. This one. This is a good opponent.
I'm glad this game's at home.
I am too.
Absolutely.
This is a really good
if it was at Illinois, I'd have 17-13 Illinois.
Yeah. No, I think this is a big advantage to us to have this game.
Well, it does help us with the short week. We don't have the travel in the week. We don't have to cram that in.
Yep.
Right.
We can continue to use our facilities to prepare on Thursday. Yeah. And so now that will go against us when we go to Iowa, and that'll be another short week.
Yep.
So that's the only bummer, coming at the end. But it's to our benefit this week.
We have Jeff to talk about that, though. He loves to talk about Iowa.
I'll have to get Jeff's game pick, too.
Yeah.
But, all right. Well, gentlemen, hearing no further thoughts, I will just say go Big Red.
Go Big Red.
Yes, go Big Red.
Cheers, boys.
Good test.